Hello, thanks for tuning in to this video. So this is the second one in an episode, it's the second one in a series of episodes I'm going to do about programming drum beats and looking at programming drum beats in different styles. So first episode we looked at some basics, doing some kind of like classic rock and pop grooves. So if you're kind of totally new to drum programming, I would suggest perhaps going to watch that first one first. Which will be in this playlist, and there'll be a link to it as well somewhere in this video. But if not, then crack on with this one. So we're going to have a look at some trap grooves. This one, so I'm going to kind of like start again. I'm going to program probably a couple of just sort of basic trap grooves. I'm going to then look at, I'm going to take this groove here, which is an audio loop. And we'll look at how we can kind of analyze that and then recreate that as a MIDI file, which gives you a bit more options then of changing sounds and moving your beats around a little bit more. I mean, you can do that in Ableton with audio, and we'll look at that as well. But it's good actually to be able to analyze a groove, work out where all the bits go, because that's actually quite a good way as well of learning how all these grooves fit together. Listening to the different elements that you've got in the groove and trying to recreate it is really, really good practice for then making up your own loops and grooves and so on. And then what I've got down in here is there's I'm going to stick these in a thing you can download, which we'll talk about in a second. But what we've got here is a few just like bass and drum loops and stuff just to get you going. Again, a few more that you can, and probably take away and analyze yourself as well. So yeah, what I'm going to do with all of the files I create in here and all of these loops, these will be available to my Patreon subscribers. They're going to be available to both tiers of subscribers. So if you're on the $1 a month or the $3.50 a month, you will get access to these. And this folder with these loops is going to keep growing and growing as I do each of these videos. So at the moment, there's the rock stuff in there. I'll put the trap stuff in there. I'll keep them all in the same folder. So really, really cheap, $1 a month or $3.50 a month. And you will get free stuff by doing that. And it helps me keep going and keeps the channel going, and so on. There are links to that in the description or in my channel header. So anybody who does subscribe, it is much appreciated. So let's crack on. So I'm going to just start programming a basic trap kind of beat in here. I'm just going to use the basic Ableton 808 kit. So if we just have a listen to this one first of all. The kind of like the main thing with trap is I'm going to go at a fairly standard kind of trap BPM, which is around about 140 beats per minute. So if I just play this one, what you'll hear is the main snare drum hit lands on beat 3. So it's kind of like what's called a half-time groove. Okay, so if we count him, put the metronome on. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can see this is the snare hit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we counted it, if you wanted your snare drum to be on the normal backbeat position, which is beat 2 and beat 4, all you got to do is you would count it at half the speed. Okay, so it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so that would make it a 2-bar loop at that speed rather than a 4-bar loop at 70 beats per minute. So yeah, so to get a bit mathematical there, but that's just kind of the way we do it. Main reason why is if you do it at that half-time kind of speed and make it a longer loop that plays faster, it means you can zoom in and get into that resolution nicely for these fast hi-hats, which is the kind of like the big thing with trap stuff. It's all the crazy hi-hat stuff that's going off. So we've got a 2-bar loop here. So we're going to start off just with our snare drum, just here, which we're going to put on beat 3 of each bar. So remember, I'm on 16th note resolution, so each 4 blocks is 1 beat. Okay, so don't fall into the trap of thinking beat 3 is there, because that's halfway through beat 1. Okay, so beat 3 is here at 1.3. So first thing we'll do is we'll stick a snare drum in on both of those two. And very exciting, we've now got the snare on beat 3 each time. So I'm going to leave that playing, and I'm just going to kind of put a few bass drums in. So we got, stick one there, I think. And we'll have another one there, and probably one there, I think. Okay, so the bass drum kind of position is just down to sort of personal preference and so on, but that's kind of a classic sort of beat. And we've lost it. Come back. What I might do as well is let's layer up a clap, I think, with the snare, like that. Okay, sounds quite nice. I'm going to start off then with just some basic eighth notes first of all, and then we'll put a few extra snare drum hits in. So, and we'll do all the crazy hi-hat stuff in a minute. So the way I like put my hi-hats in is I'll put the first two in there. So that is our eighth note position, the first and the third block if we're in a 16th note resolution. I'll then just highlight that and I'll just do Control D and just keep pressing D. So we've got a hi-hat going all the way through. So. Okay, so we're going to work on the hi-hats quite a lot in a minute. Let's put some extra snare hits in first. Let's think where we can put... right, let's play it and we'll stick a snare drum in somewhere. See what one sounds like there. That's a clap. Let's go there. Okay, it's got a nice one. What I'm going to do is make the velocity a bit lower on those two. So they're kind of more like what's called... Now you might even want to put a different snare sound on those two, but we'll leave that like that for now. Okay, that's sounding all right. Right, so I'm going to zoom in. Oh, I'm going to change my resolution to 30-second notes now first. So let's just see first of all what it sounds like if we have 30-second notes on beat 1. Okay, so as well as adding a load in, we can take ones out as well. So if we took out like... Okay. And what I'm thinking on the end... Okay, so on this beat 4 here, I'm going to go with some triplets. Yep. So let's just get rid of all those. And we're going to change to the triplet grid. So we're going to put triplets on beat 4. Okay, pretty cool. So we've got a little bit more options for some variations. Let's... So I've got that note. I wanted to do that. Okay, so what have I done? I've done something totally wrong. Right. Sorry, I'm being really thick here. Yeah, sorry, pressing the wrong button. I'm thinking I'm on a different thing, actually. Right, I was just going to try and make it twice as long, and that doesn't. That just stretches it out. We need to duplicate it. Right, so it gives us a bit more option then to. So I'm thinking before this snare drum here. Okay, let's do something with that one. Let's think what we could put in there, because I want to have like a little fast hi-hat thing going into that. So let's try some 30 seconds. Okay, kind of works. Yep. Okay, so we've gone to 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've gone 30-second note triplets in that one, which works quite nicely. It's kind of sounding all right. Get one of these bass with it. Okay, so there we go. That's the basics of it. Let's just see if we can develop that on a little bit more. Let's have a bit of a thing. There's probably enough going off in there, but let's change this last eighth note thing at the end. So we could put, I don't know, let's try an open at the end. Yeah, okay, that's cool. All right, so there's the basics of it. So it's really just a case of mixing together all your different hi-hat patterns. You know, very, very different from like house music and rock and pop and anything else where you generally get straight eighths on your hi-hat or straight sixteenths on your hi-hat. This is all about being inventive with your hi-hats. Like I say, the bass and snare drum patterns are fairly kind of straightforward and the hi-hats go all crazy. So it's a combination of like sixteenths and triplets and 30-second notes and so on. So what I thought I'd do alongside that one is I'm going to just have a listen to this one. Okay, I'm just going to kind of analyze this one and recreate it. It's quite a simple bass and snare drum pattern again, but there we do need some 64th notes in this one, so I thought I'd just cover this one. So if I leave that playing, and then I'm going to go into this clip here, which again I'm going to make, it's going to be 2 bars long because it's a 2-bar loop. So if I leave this playing, we'll kind of get the hold on, let's get them at the same time. So make sure they're both playing. That's better. Not you though. Right. So obviously the snare drum is fairly straightforward to put in because it's on beat 3 as it was before. So we're going to stick that in there. Okay. Obviously you've got a bass drum on beat 1. Now if you count, the way to do this is to count it through. Okay, so to work out where your bass drums are going, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, so the next bass drum is falling on 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 there. We've got another one round here, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so that's going to be on the and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So your bass drums are generally going to fall on the beats and the ands. They might be on the e's and the ers, but generally going to be on the beats and the ands. So we've got the bass drum and the snare drum in there. Now the hi-hat. Let's count that through on the hi-hat if we listen. So the first one is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got basically just 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes on that first one. So we've got one. Now there's another one coming in here. Okay, hopefully you can hear that in there. So now we've got some fast stuff going off around here. If we put the last 2 in, because they're simple enough, it's just on 3 and 4. Okay, so if we go to here, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, da, 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 da. Okay, so we can hear we've got 16ths in there. Okay, let me just turn this one down a little bit so we can hear. Bring that back up. Okay, so what we're going to do is this fast buzz of hi-hats, which is going to land on this here. There. Okay, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so we're on the and of beat 1 of the second bar. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So first of all, what I would do is when you hear some fast ones like that, I would try it as some 30-second notes because it may be 30-second notes. So it's going to start now when we're in 30-second notes. So what you got to be aware of is getting let me turn that one off. Is getting it to start in the right place. So it's going to be on the and here. Okay. So if you want to kind of put a marker as to where it is, put a note in there first, because as you go onto your 30-second note thing, you can actually see then when it's going to start. So what I would suggest is we'll put in 4 30-second notes in there. Let's see if we've got it. Now I think we need another one in there. Okay, now if we have a listen, compare it. Okay, so if you listen to the fast bit I've just put in here, okay, ours isn't fast enough. So that's going to mean we need to go 64th notes. Now you can't choose that as a resolution on here. So what you've got to do is use the adaptive grid up here. I usually just put it on medium. What I'll do is leave those in so you know where they're going to start, and zoom in until down here changes to 64th, which is there. Now we know we've got to start here. So I'm thinking it's probably only just for 64th notes. So let's just change that to that. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so we're going to need another one there. We're missing that, and then I think we've pretty much got it. Okay, so that's the one we've programmed in. And that's the one which sounds pretty much spot on to me. Okay, so that's a good exercise just to practice. Okay, get them both playing alongside each other, because it really makes you think about how the beats are all put together. If necessary, when you're playing it, I mean, because if you get these warped in Ableton, you can obviously, you know, slow it right down so you can work out where they need to go. Okay, and if it's not sounding quite right, then let's say it's a case of just changing your resolution. It might be 64th notes, it might be 30 seconds, it might be triplets as well. So bear in mind all of those. Like I said before, it's all about the hi-hats with this one, that complicated hi-hat pattern. I will leave this one in here as well. I'll export all these out so you've got all of these as MIDI files, as I mentioned before, which I'll stick in the folder for my Patreon subscribers. And yeah, there's a load of loops here. So what I would do is stick some of these in. What's this one? Okay, not warped very well, but you probably just need to re-warp some of these. I mean, you can as well, obviously, in Ableton. Let's see how... Okay, I'm just going to try out, see how good Ableton is at doing this. Because you can, as well, extract the rhythms, which is not cheating. It saves time. But it's worth just kind of analysing them yourself and trying to do your own version. So let's just see what it makes of this one. Let's see if he's got it as good as me. Where does it put it? It's there. Okay, it's pretty close, but it's not picked up the resolution of those 64th notes, so you would still need to go in and change that. But what it has done quite nicely is put different velocities on, which is something I would do as well. If you wanted to sound more like a human drummer, just change your velocity slightly, because a human drummer doesn't hit the same volume every single time. It's going to be slightly different each time. So if you want that natural kind of feel, then just go in and change all your velocities. I'll leave that one in there as well, so you've also got that. So I mean, you've got that facility to obviously extract the rhythm straight away from Ableton. And I'm not sure if I'm guessing all the DAWs do the same thing, not sure. But like I say, it's a really good skill to get your beat making chops up to speed by analysing some grooves, try and recreate them yourself. And obviously then it gives you a bit more flexibility of moving stuff around. I mean, obviously you can do that in this. You could chop it and do warping things. But I just find with the MIDI, once you've got it in MIDI, you can then put different drums sounds with it really easily. It makes it a lot easier once you've got those as a MIDI kind of thing. So thanks for watching. And next episode we will do some drum and bass. So usual things like subscribe, share the videos around, all that kind of nonsense. Consider subscribing to Patreon, then you get the free stuff. And I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers and thanks for watching.